In DIP, let us see the intensity transformation and spatial filtering. First, we'll see the spatial domain and the transform domain. What it means: spatial domain is the image plane itself. It directly processes the intensity value of the image plane. That is the image which you have learned up till now. Two-dimensional intensity function. So it is spatial domain. What about the transform domain? Transform domain processes the transform coefficients. As you remember, we applied a transform on the image and then we got certain image. This is the transform domain. It processes the transform coefficients and not directly process the intensity value of the image plane. So it doesn't, these pixels or intensity values, they are not directly processed at transform domain. Let us see the spatial domain process. As we suggested that this is our input image, we apply or do certain transformation, and T is nothing but certain operator, which is an operator on this F, which is say defined over a neighborhood of a point xy. Spatial domain means if this is a point, let me go back. If this is a point, all the values which are in neighborhood, and we have certain neighborhood like N4, N8, and D. So an operator on F defined over a neighborhood of point xy, this operator transforms the image into gxy, which is a spatial domain process. Let us take an example also. This is a spatial domain process. The origin is always taken as the left upper corner, x in the down direction, y in the right direction. So this is how normally we process the image. So this is a portion of image. As you can see, a 3x3 or 9 pixels are shown here. So this is a 3x3 neighborhood of xy. For this point, all these values here, all these pixels are the neighbors. These are the 3x3 neighborhood about a point say xy in an image in the spatial domain. The neighborhood is moved from pixel to pixel in the image to generate an output image. So if this is your one instance, the next instance would be something like this. Okay, and now the central pixel will be this. So likewise, next pixel will be this. So our neighborhood will become this one. And now the processing is done on the neighborhood, processing is done on the transformation is done on this pixel. So this goes like this, and again it will start with the next row. So it goes like this, like this. In spatial domain process, we have intensity transformation function also, which is like this. Intensity transformation means changing the DN values or digital numbers or intensity values. So intensity transformation functions. For example, we can have contrast stretching function and the thresholding function. So this is the example of your contrast stretching, and this is the example of thresholding function. So what we are doing here is in the contrast stretching, see from dark to light, if this is the variation, then if our actual image or say certain point is there, so what we try to do in contrast stretching is for certain value r0, the transformation of r0 will give s0 if s is equal to tr is the actual function, that is r is our initial image, s is our final image. So what is happening here is we are stretching the contrast of the function. So this value is being changed to this value, right? So from certain, say the contrast is say from 25 to 20 to 50, we are trying to transform each and every value to a new DN value, which can increase the good appearance or perceivability of the image. What about the threshold function? In threshold function, we apply a threshold, say x. So below x will leave, above x will take, and it can be taken in the reverse also. So what is happening here is, this is say a k point, which is a threshold. Below this, all are considered to be dark, and after this threshold, all are considered to be light. Means these are the two values which are being divided by the threshold. This is another intensity transformation function, and there are certain basic intensity transformation function. As you can see here, all curves were scaled to fit in this range. So let us take this first function. This is inverse log. So when you apply inverse log on your image, a change will be like this. This is your change, and these are the input intensity value. So if this is the intensity input value, this one is the output intensity value if inverse log is applied. For say identity, okay, identity is that if this is the point, when you apply the identity function, you'll get the same value. In contrast to the negative, which is this line, which you see here. So if we take some value, then it will be just the highest value, t to the power l minus 1. And all others are there also, the inverse log, nth power, identity, nth root, negative, log, etc. These are all basic intensity transformation function, as we have seen the contrast touching and the threshold. This is image negative, as I just suggested, how we can get the image negatives. So image negatives is very simple. We take the highest value, that is, say the image is 8 bit. So 8 bit will be 2 to the power 8 will be 256. So the gray value ranges will range from 0 to 255. All these will be gray shades. What will happen with the image negative? That we will just take the R, that is our DN value, which you found in the image, any value, and you take this value and subtract it from the highest value, that is 255. So 0 will become 255 minus 0, that is 255, and 255 will become 0. So the highest 0 will become 255 and 255 will become 0. So black will become white, and white will represent the black. And in this manner, all the in between shades will also change, or they will be reversed actually. This is the example of image negative. As you can see here, this is the original digital mammogram, and this one is the negative image obtained using the negative transformation. As you can see, you have certain various points which are very much prominent here. This is the small lesion, for example, in a mammogram. Now log transformation, this one, how this is going to work? This is your DN value. You add 1 to the DN value and you take log, and this is certain constant C. So taking log of the DN values, you can get the log transformation, which is of this type, this curve. Then we come to the Fourier transform. So this is nothing but the example of log transformations, but here we see the Fourier transform, and this is the result applying the log transformation with C equal to 1. What is, there are various equations. So if we apply, there are various equations you can see, as we have just seen. So there are certain equations, and if we apply, see the log transformation is there. Now you can apply the log transformation into certain equation. Say it may be fxy. This transformation on fxy is nothing but the log, that is C log 1 plus r. You are applying this, and once you are applying this on this equation is C equal to 1, you can get the result like this. Okay, means initial image would be like this of the Fourier transform, and if you perform this action and then take the Fourier transform, it will be seen like this. Then we also have power law, that is gamma transformation. Gamma transformation for each value, the curve will be different. These are the plots of the equation, which is C r to the power gamma, and this gamma is nothing but the value which is variating from say 0.04 to 25.0 and likewise. So these are certain values, and if we take power, say your digital value is 26, you apply say 1.5. When you apply this, you'll get the result. So it will be with this curve. So if your R is this and you apply gamma as say 1.5, this will be your result. So these are the plots of the equation, which is this one. S is equal to C r to the power gamma, and C we take 1 in this curve. So all curves were scaled to fit here, and this power law gamma transformation will be like this. Now let us see. You'll be wondering what exactly this is going to result or going to give us. The figure shows that we have intensity ramp image, which is this. What is the ramp image? That means you can see the variation. Here you find black, here you find white in the borders. So this is you call it as an intensity ramp image. Now this particular image B, and when this original image is viewed on the monitor, this image is viewed on the monitor, say with gamma equal to 2.5, it will be seen like this. You might have heard about gamma correction, right? And now this is the gamma corrected image of this. The original image is gamma corrected, and this is the gamma corrected image. And this image is the corrected image as viewed on the monitor. So you just compare this D with A, and you will find that these two are similar. So if you want to show it on the monitor, it will be seen like this. So you have to perform certain gamma correction with respect to your monitor, because it is not going to display the way it is. Image will be displayed in some other manner in certain instances. For that you require the gamma correction. So this is gamma corrected image, and gamma corrected image will be like this. This is the gamma transformation again, and the cathode ray tube CRT tube devices have an intensity to voltage response. That is actually your power function, and it varies. That is, the exponent vary from 1.8 to 2.5. This is the property of CRT. We don't have CRT right now, but we still need to know what happened in CRT. So S is equal to r to the power 1 by 2.5. So it varies. The original image is like this. This original image, if it is viewed in the monitor, is like this. You need to do the gamma corrected image. Though these are not similar, but still this gamma corrected image will be seen in the monitor exactly as this one. One more example of gamma transformation is, you can see the magnetic resonance image, that is MRI, of a fractured human spine, right? Now from this image to this image to this, these are the images which is obtained by applying C equal to 1 and gamma equal to 0.6. You remember C r to the power gamma. So we apply gamma equal to 0.6 here, in this case, here 0.4 and here 0.3. So this, you can see that how we are able to see there is a darkness here, there is quite a brightness here, and this one, these images, most importantly this image, can give you a better glimpse of the fracture. See this area, this is the fracture, as you can see. Again, one more example is this aerial image. And once this aerial image, if you apply the gamma correction, say we applied 3.0 here, 4.0 here, and 5.0 here in C r to the power gamma. So the transformation will be like this. As you can see, the fogged image, most of the mist and fog is there. This image is quite better. So we were talking about the piecewise linear transformations, and we have already seen the contrast stretching, and we'll see the intensity level slicing also. What was contrast stretching? See, if it expands the range of intensity levels in an image so that it spans the full intensity range of the recording medium or display device. what it means is, suppose your device or your recording medium has the capability of this range, means the full intensity range of your recording medium is say from 0 to 255, but the image has come and you see that all the values, they lie between say 140 to 220. So actually this image is having a low contrast. It is not utilizing the complete range which this device has. So what we do, we assign 140 to 0, 220 to 255 and then stretch it. We stretch this contrast. This is called contrast stretching. What about intensity level slicing? We will highlight a specific range of intensities in an image which is of our interest. Say for example, our values are from say 80 to 220. Now we are aware that our problem or our point of concern or area of concern lies from 140 to 160. So what we'll do, from 140 to 160, these are the DN values, digital numbers. We'll only enhance or we will only highlight the value which are between 140 and 160. This is intensity level slicing. See this image. This is a very low contrast image. But when we perform the contrast stretching, that means this is a transformation function. We have a low contrast image and this is a result of contrast stretching. And we will also see the result of thresholding, that we have only kept value which are some threshold. We leave these values, we leave and we take only the higher values. This is the example of, because this there are two examples for you. What is happening here is, first, this one. This transformation highlights intensity range AB and reduces all other intensity to a lower level. What it means is, this first one, whatever the frequency is, from A to B is highlighted, else are suppressed. While in this case, the transformation highlights range and preserves all other intensity. Because if this is the original intensity, only this range is highlighted. Rest are kept like this. Here the rest are suppressed, only this one is highlighted. For example, in the figure we see, this is a aortic angiogram. This is the result of using the slicing transformation. What we see in this figure, this one, with the range of intensities of interest selected in the upper end of the grayscale, while this one is the result of using the transformation of this figure. So with the selected area set to black, so that gray is in the area of blood vessels and kidneys, they are preserved. So this area, highlight the major blood vessels and study the shape of the flow of contrast medium to detect say blockages, etc. While in this case, measuring the actual flow of the contrast medium as a function of time in a series of images. Now we see the bit plane slicing. Bit plane slicing means, suppose we have an 8-bit image. That means how many bit planes are there? From 1 to 8. So there are, in all we have 8 planes. We have 8 planes. This is one 8-bit byte. So how to bit plane or how to slice the bit plane? Because you can slice any of these. Let us see with an example. This is an 8-bit grayscale image of size say 500 by 1192, and from this point to the images which are coming, this is the bit plane, another bit plane, another bit plane. So these are all the bit planes. So from this figure to this figure, bit planes 1 through 8 with bit plane 1 corresponding to the least significant bit. So each bit plane is again a binary image. So you see this one is giving the higher value, means the information is quite prominent here. Now we have image reconstructed. Say I only take bit plane this 8 and 7. Sorry, 7 this one, 8 is this. So I just combine 8 and 7 and I can get the image. If I combine 8, 7, 6, I can get the image. Bit plane 8, 7, 6, 5. This is the image. We just compare how things are changing. You can see that the artifacts here, they are not here because the maximum data which you see here, the previous one, is concentrated in these two. So if you combine them, you can get not that image, means not previous, but still you can get an equivalent image. So now we come to histogram processing. What is histogram processing? We have various processing with respect to histogram. Histogram is nothing but the frequency distribution of the DN values. That is frequency distribution. Okay. So what this frequency distribution means? If your image has certain DN values, say certain value, certain 22 is occurring for 8 times, then 190 is occurring 20 times. So now what we are going to do is, we'll plot 22 right from 0 to 255 say, and 190 is here. So 190 will be like this. So this is 20 and you have 8 here, so 22 will be 8. So this distribution which you are witnessing here, this kind of distribution, there will be various values. This is nothing but the histogram. So histogram equalization, histogram matching, local histogram processing, and using histogram statistics for image enhancement, we'll see. First mathematically see what is histogram. So histogram HRK is equal to NK, all these K are subscript, where this RK is the intensity value, kth, any K, say 0 to 255, I take 181. So this is your 1K value, means kth value, any value you can take. So any kth value, RK is the kth intensity value. And what about NK? NK is the number of pixels in the image with intensity RK, as I just suggested in the previous section or previous slide. And now the normalized histogram PRK will be given by NK, that is the number of pixels in the image with intensity RK, divided by M into N. Okay, this NK is the number of pixels in the image of size M into N with intensity RK. Right? So normalized histogram will be given by this value. So this is the figure. As you see that the histogram says, because this is low contrast image, all frequency values are here only. This is your histogram. But in this case, because this is very light, so the histogram is from this point to this point, shifted to the rightwards. What about low contrast image? Because this dark image left side, bright image right side, and the low contrast is just concentrated to certain values. And we perform the contrast stretching type of thing, then see the histogram is equally, or rather uniformly distributed. This is your good image, which is the contrast stretched image. Let us see the histogram equalization. What is histogram equalization? The intensity levels in an image may be viewed as random variables in the interval 0 to L minus 1. It can be anything. Okay, so let PR R and PSS, it denotes the probability density function of any random variables R and S. These are the probability density function. This is an arbitrary, say, PDF, any distribution function PDF, and now this is the result of applying the transformation to all the intensity level which are R. The resulting intensity S have a uniform PDF. See, it is having a uniform PDF independently of the form of PDF of the R's, which you can see here. So it was like this, and once you apply the certain transformation, we can get the uniform distribution of this PDF. So histogram equalization is applying the transformation on R to get S, where R belongs to 0 to L minus 1, that is 0 to say 255 if it is an 8-bit image. Mostly we will be dealing with 8-bit image only, that is why I am always taking these values. Now TR, that is the transformation on R, is strictly monotonically increasing function in this interval. First of all, monotonically increasing, and this TR lies again between 0 to L minus 1, that is it should lie between, if transformation has been done, S should lie between 0 to 255 only, while this R lies between again 0 to 255. So what we mean by saying monotonically increasing, this diagram shows a monotonically increasing function. See, it is increasing, monotonically increasing, showing how multiple values can map to a single value. These multiple values, it points to the single value, right? So these multiple values, we'll see what we are going to do. Multiple values to a single value, and single value to single value, but multiple value can be mapped to single value, and this is strictly monotonically increasing. This is because we have one-to-one mapping. We don't have various value which are pointing to, or which have the same TR. So R's, many R's having single TR. If it is not, then we say it is a strictly monotonically increasing. But here we are talking about strictly monotonically increasing function. This one, this is very much used, and this is the heart of your histogram equalization. So in this case, TR is continuous and differentiable. So what we mean by saying that this probability distribution function PSS ds is equal to PR R ds, because it is continuous also and differentiable also. So how we can represent it with respect to the, because this is differentiable, so we can represent it using integral. So TR can be represented as PRW dW from 0 to R into L minus 1. So this ds by dr, if you take the derivative, so dtr by dr, that will be nothing but L minus 1 and d by dr of the inside function or inside integral. What it will give, integral of 0 to R PRW dW is nothing but the PR of the R. This is the probability distribution function from 0 to R. That is, this is what? Because we know that PS ds is equal to PR dr. We have just seen this equation, so we'll put this equation there. See, this was our equation. So now PSS can be replaced by this PRR divided by ds by dr. This can be written as PR by R divided by ds. Will take this down, dr. Okay, this is done now. But what is ds by dr? We have just seen ds by dr is L minus 1 PRR. So we'll replace it here. And this is nothing but, it cancel out. And this is nothing but 1 by L minus 1. So PSS will be 1 by L minus 1. So let us take, we'll take an example. Don't worry about that. This is just a mathematical understanding. Suppose that the continuous intensity values in an image have the probability distribution function like this. That is PRR is equal to 2R by L minus 1 whole square. They all belong to say 0 to 255, that is 0 to L minus 1. So it will be 2 into R, that is the intensity value, by L minus 1 whole square, that is 255 whole square. Or otherwise it will be 0. So just find the transformation function for equalizing the image histogram. How can you equalize the histogram? So you have to tell the histogram equalization. So what we had, S is equal to TR, we know that is equal to L minus 1 integration of 0 to R PRW dW. Again in this we have put this function. What is PR given? It is given as 2W by L minus 1 R square. We replace this W by R, R by W. Now this is from 0 to R. Let us take the actual combination, and this is R square by L minus 1. Because this is constant, it will cut, and this is nothing but w square by 2, and 2 will cancel. W square from 0 to r is r square. This will be r square by l minus. Simple integration. What about the continuous case? This is the equation. This is the continuous case. But for discrete, we cannot use integral. Integral is always used for the continuous case. What about discrete case? These type of cases. For this we use SKTRK is equal to this k. Why we are taking? Because this is not continuous. We have values, certain values here. So SK is equal to TRK, L minus 1, sigma, J is equal to 0 from A, K, nothing but 0 to R. So this will be nothing but 0 to K, because there are K discrete values. And that is PR, RJ. RJ is all the values from 0 to K, because J varies from 0 to K. This is J. So this is nothing but L minus 1, sigma of NJ by Mn. You know what? How can we write PR, RJ? We have seen in the previous section. You can replace it by NJ by Mn, right? So this gives, because we can take this constant out, Mn and L minus 1, sigma J to 0 to the power K, means J to 0 to K, and NJ, sigma NJ, and this K varies from 0 to L minus 1. Okay, this is how you get the value. Now I'll take an example. Let us take an example, then we solve it. So let us take the example of histogram equalization. Suppose that we have a 3-bit image. What does it mean? 3-bit image means 2 to the power, that is 8. L is 8 here. Well, we have 8 levels. That means 0 to 7. It can vary. What? These are the levels of intensity. The size of image is 64 by 64 pixels. That is 64 by 64. If you multiply it, we get it as 4096. That is 4096. So this has the intensity distribution like this. We can get the histogram equalization transformation function and give the PS SK for each SK. How? Please understand very carefully. We have for R0 equal to 0 means we have 790 pixel with the value as 0 in the image, and we have 245 NK, 245 number of pixels with their intensity value as 5. So what we are going to do? We will perform this action. 790 by 4096. So what will be? 0.19. Again, for this one, 1023 by 4096. This will be 0.25. And we'll do it for every number here. This is the final number, right? Then, this we have achieved. The next step is, what is the next step? We multiply the level. What is the level? That is 7. So we multiply 7 by 0.19. That is 7 into sigma 0 to 0 PR RJ. In the first case, it will be 0.19 only. That is, we will multiply 7 by 0.19. That will be 1.33. Next is, we multiply 7 by sigma J is equal to 0 to 1. This was 0 to 0. Now we have two values, 0 to 1. So what we are going to do is, this PR RJ will include 0.19 and 0.25. So we are taking a cumulative frequency. So we add 0.19 and 0.25, then multiply by 7, and 7 is nothing but the level, highest level. This will give you 3.08. So we'll take 1, we'll take 3. Next is what? In this similar fashion, next is, I'll give you say S2. I hope that you will do it by yourself. Others, let me give you this S2. That will be 7, 0.19 plus 0.25 plus this 0.21, because this is cumulative. So that will be the value, which is 4.55. Now 4.55, see, 1.33 we took as 1. 4.5, because it is nearer to 5, we take it as 5. 6.23 we take it as 6. 6.86 nearer to 7. 5.67 to 6. 6.67 to 7 and 7.00 to 7. Now we have got the value. How we can distribute now? This is the illustration of histogram equalization of that 3-bit, that is 8 intensity level image. This was our original histogram. It was not equalized, but now we have the transformation function which we just saw, and now we have the final equalized histogram. So we have 1, 3, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, that means we have this 1, 3, 5, 6 and 7. So 6.65, 6.86 and 7, these 3 will be equalized to 7. 6.23 and 5.67 will be equalized to 6. And then the distribution will be that all the values, all the pixel values corresponding to 1 will be pointed to this value, which is 1, and 3 will be like this, 5 here, 6 here, 7 here. Now this is a proper equalized histogram, equalized equalized histogram, or we have done the histogram equalization. So this is histogram equalization for you. Now this image also, as we see that we have done certain transformation function for histogram equalization, but before that, what I intend to tell you is that we have first image, and then we know what was the frequency distribution. We have already seen frequency distribution of these 4, but as we apply the histogram equalization, we see how clear this image is, right? So these are all the histogram equalized result. This is an transformation function for histogram equalization which we just saw. So let me tell you, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So these 1, 2, 3, 4, this transformation 1, 2, 3, 4, they were obtained from the histogram of images in the left column, which we have just seen. These 4 from these, okay, these values. So I hope you understand the histogram equalization. Now the question is histogram equalization always good? Is it good always? The answer is no. It is not always good. Sometimes you have already equalized image. Why do you want to equalize them? So always it is not good. So we have taken few important aspects of DIP today. I'll be taking 4 more in the coming section. Thank you so much. Take care.